And we are live. Welcome to Pistons Jack Fan Reacts. And before we get going, as always, if you want to come up here and chat Pistons hoops, please shoot me a DM. I probably only have 40 minutes today, unfortunately, because I got to head out for a family event. But I've got Gian, I believe, joining me for the first time in just a moment. They've reached out on Instagram, so really excited to have a new guest here to open the show. But yeah, if you want to come up, DM me now, and we'll try to squeeze you in the next 40 minutes. But the Pistons, they win. like, man, that might be one of my least favorite games of the season. I'll never get too greedy with wins. Like, I'll take any win, but the Pistons end up winning 98-94 over the Hornets in a pretty frustrating game. But a win is a win. So the Pistons currently sit, I think, 9th in the East and are 16-18. But I'm going to bring up my man, Gian, here. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. I'm sure he'll correct me in just a moment. What's going on, brother?
Yo, what's going on?
Not much, man. Are you from the UK?
No, I'm from Switzerland.
Wow. Let's go. That's unreal. I thought I sensed a bit of a UK accent there, but obviously I'm
No,
completely
no,
wrong. What's going on, man? Was I pronouncing your name right as well?
it's John, but close enough.
John.
Close
Just
enough.
John? Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
just John.
Well, let's go, man. I'm super excited you've reached out and to come up on the show. I love
Yeah, yeah.
having new faces up here. Just first of all, man, tell us how you became a Pistons fan.
You know, I got into basketball like fairly recently, so I think like the 23 playoffs, so the year the
Yep.
Nuggets won. That's when I started watching basketball, and then in the off season, I just had to choose a team since I was gonna watch basketball for a whole year. I chose the Pistons. So
Wow.
my first season was the 14 win season. So for me,
Wow.
it can only go up.
I am
It can't really get
shocked.
worse.
This might be the craziest story I've heard. I thought my story was crazy, but out of every team, can I ask why you chose the Pistons? Do you like Cade? Is there a player?
I mean, I don't even really remember. I just I just had to choose a team, and I thought, you know, I'll pick a team that seems like it's on the come up. Uh, Maybe wasn't that on the come up as I thought, but we move.
I absolutely love it. You have chosen, like, no matter what people say, you have picked the team at probably their lowest moment in franchise history. So you
Yeah,
deserve so much credit for that. Um, yeah, I'm shocked. I love it though. I love that you've picked an underdog team, a team on the come up. Um, let's talk a little bit about tonight's game. I'm assuming you're able to watch most of it.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
just initial thoughts from the game.
You know, at the start, I thought, oh my God, we're missing Jaden Ivey so much because I felt like there was no playmaking outside of Cade. I felt like we were in desperate need of playmaking. But then at the start of the third, it got a little bit better. I feel like we picked up some momentum, and then in the fourth it got a little bit dicey again. But at the end, a win's a win. You'll take it.
Absolutely no, and like I might get frustrated throughout the game because this team, they've now won 5 out of their last 6, and I think like it's only natural for us to just want them to be in control of every game, especially when they played the teams like the Hornets tonight, who are missing a few of their key players. But I'm with you. A win is a win. So, like I said, they're 16-18 now. I know you've only just recently joined the fan base, but I don't think they've been this close to 500 in January since for at least 5 years. So
Yeah,
um,
yeah, yeah.
it's exciting. Yeah. If there any other thoughts on the game or thoughts on Kate Cunningham overall? I'd be keen to hear who's your favorite player, actually.
My favorite player, I'm not sure. It's probably Jaden Ivey or Ron. Jaden
Yeah.
Ivey or Ron. Maybe Bobby's, but Bobby still hasn't played somehow. I thought today he'd for sure play, but you know we saw a lot of Wendell minutes. I thought we maybe see some Bobby minutes.
I know, man. How can I not even connect the dots? The is Bobby's from Switzerland, isn't he? Or am I
No,
wrong?
Bobby's from Sweden. Bobby's from Sweden. You know, it happens.
Man, I suck. I'm sorry.
It happens.
Oh, that's so bad of me. I should be better as an international fan. That's horrible.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but man, I know I feel like Bobby definitely like he's been with the Cruise now for a few
yeah,
games,
yeah.
which I
I've
like.
seen that.
Yeah, they're obviously getting him reps, but yeah, I think he's
Yeah,
definitely due for some minutes
I
sometime
just
soon.
thought because Dennis Jenkins was on the bench today, and like he usually plays for the G League. I thought so. I thought Bobby maybe as well, but he wasn't on the bench. So
I
maybe it's
know.
that calf again. You never know.
Well, no, he's been playing for the Cruise, so I think the
Yeah,
calf's
yeah.
okay.
I've seen him, but you
Yeah,
know,
maybe they're just taking it easy.
yeah,
Can
yeah,
I ask you then? You said Jaden Ivey's your favorite player. Um,
yeah.
how are you feeling the other night? Because Jaden's one of my favorite players as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so the other night I only watched the fourth quarter. I wasn't really at my phone for the whole, so I only watched the fourth quarter. I basically I put the game on and instantly he gets injured. So like, you know, it was not nice to see. He had such a good stretch of games, and now suddenly with the injury, and now you see the impact on the team. Like we got a whole lot worse, and I feel like, you know, he's just very important for the team. He's a secondary playmaker, the secondary scorer, and I feel like he's also kind of the heart and soul of the team with all the dogs. So yeah, I mean it really hurt.
yeah. I think, and you really saw how much he means to the team. Like with like Asar, obviously was like crying on the bench. Coach JB, I swear, looked like he was about to tear up. And yeah, you're so right. Like, I haven't seen this a lot in the Pistons community, but I think fans just naturally think, okay, you put Beasley in there, he'll give you those 18 points maybe. But it's kind of the way Jaden gets those points. And like you mentioned, the secondary playmaking, like you really saw how much they missed that tonight. And nothing against Wendell Moore, but I know I kind of can see what JB's trying to do there because Wendell can kind of handle the ball and has some size, but he's just not really a threat to score. So they really miss Jaden, and there's no question they got worse without him, with him gone. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they fix that. But yeah, he'd been awesome this season, and like just so sad because he was the last 5 games he was shooting the ball ridiculously and was really finding a rhythm.
Yeah.
I'll turn it to you, man.
You know, I took some notes, so I'm just gonna look at those real quick so I don't
Let's go.
forget what I wanted to say.
Go
Um,
for it.
but you know, I wanted to give credit to Tobias. I feel like Tobias stepped up his game, just not just today, but recently he really stepped it up, and I feel like, you know, today it felt like he could have missed anytime the ball got to him. I felt like, yeah, that's an easy bucket, and I feel like that's especially important when we have games like with Malik Beasley. He had an off game. I felt like he couldn't buy a bucket if he wanted to. He
Yeah,
went like 1 for 7, I think, or
I
something
think it
like
was
that.
actually one for 10 by the end of
One
the
for
game
10.
from three. It's
Oh my
crazy.
god.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but I felt like Tobias, he hit everything. He couldn't miss a shot. So overall, I just wanted to give shout outs to Tobias, since, you know, sometimes he gets hated, like deservedly, but I feel like then we also have to give him props when he deserves them.
Absolutely. And I think even like great call from yourself. He finished with I think 24 points, 10 boards, 3 steals as well, which I thought was huge from him. Efficient, knocked down corner threes. Uh and yeah, he definitely, like you said, the fan base can get on him when he's not playing well. But I feel like even in that fourth quarter after the Ivy injury, it was really him and Tim Hardaway Jr. who helped guide them to the win. So
Yeah,
it's good to see like Tobias now, because even though it was just a bad Hornets team, like they don't win tonight without him. No way. So
no
great
way,
call
no.
to give him a shout out because I thought he was really good.
Yeah,
Um,
I
any
also
other
wanted,
notes?
yeah, I
I'm
also
loving
wanted
your
to give,
notes.
um, I wanted to give Ron Holland his shout outs. I felt like sometimes he's still a little bit uncontrolled. Like I feel like that possession where the shot clock ran out, you know, that we really noticed the lack of playmaking. So he just sat there with the ball for 15 seconds. But I feel like other than that, he brought some really good energy today. He made some good time shots, and I really just thought, he brought the energy today. He helped the team not get completely stuck in a rut, and you know, I just felt like he played good today. And also, it feels like the first time. I think it was at the start of the fourth quarter. I felt like it was the first time this season I've seen him together with Asar on the floor.
Yeah, they have played a little bit together this season, very, very
Yeah,
recently though. So I wouldn't, yeah, don't blame me for missing it. But it is fun to see them out there. And I'm sure, like, Ron's 3-point shot as well is looking a lot better. Hit one tonight. His finishing, his finishing in the rim has been like, that was one of the things people were like concerned about with him, even at Summer League. But he's like been awesome in the paint.
no,
Um,
he's amazing. I feel like the outside shot sometimes it struggles a little bit. Sometimes it looks a little bit wonky, but inside, I feel like if he gets to his layups, his fast-paced layups, um, I feel like they're always at least close. They're never far off.
No, I agree. Like in it, there's like some of them are like tough. Like tonight, he had a couple. One where he like, I don't even know if you want to call it a floater, but it was in traffic, kind of like a finger roll, and like I was like, how
Yeah,
did he even make that? Like,
yeah, it's really crazy.
I know. I just did not expect it like this season from him. Like he only played I think 10 minutes tonight, but gave you 9 points. He really capitalizes on the minutes he gets.
He only played 10 minutes. It felt
I'm
like so
pretty
much more.
sure.
Wait,
Let me double check.
I'll check.
10 minutes,
Yeah, he
50
played ten
seconds.
minutes.
Yeah, it felt
It
like
felt like
more.
20.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a credit to him though that he makes such an
Yeah,
impact. I feel like he's out there for so much longer.
I felt like he's out there all the time. He played so good. He was just everywhere when he was out there.
No, he's been like one of the. There's been lots of bright spots this season, but I don't think the fan base kind of expect him to have the impact he's had, and like his energy is awesome, and like I think he's definitely a part of the rotation each and every night, even when the
Yeah,
Pistons are fully healthy. Jaden Ivey, like you want to see him out there.
yeah, definitely.
Um, any other game notes?
Let me check real quick.
You're good.
I wrote you said I want to come on today, so I thought I'll take it serious. I'll write some notes to that. I'll write some notes down.
I love it. It's incredible.
Yeah, I don't want to talk a lot about it, but
Yeah.
we have to talk about the rest.
Oh, go for it. There's people in the comments here that are probably like, Jack, and why are we not talking about it?
You know,
Far
I'm not
away.
gonna I'm not gonna scream. I can't scream. It's 4 a.m. I can't be
It's
too
4
loud.
a.m. Oh
Yeah,
my.
it's 4 a.m. I can't be too loud. Um, you know, late games usually, if like every game on the West Trip started at 3 a.m. here, so I really didn't watch much of it. But it's 4 a.m. right now. I can't scream, but sometimes they call everything against us. They didn't call anything against them. I I'm not gonna make any accusations. I'm gonna be a political man here, but something was going on. There is no way.
It was crazy, man. At one point, I think I tweeted it out. The Pistons had 26 fouls called against them, and Charlotte had 7 with like 5 minutes to play in the last quarter.
Yeah, it
Like,
was like 3 minutes in any quarter. They were already in the bonus.
it was atrocious. Some of them
It
as
was
well were like, it just wasn't being called both ways either. It's
no,
like, that's the thing, man. Like sometimes I don't mind if the refs are like going to be quick with their whistle and kind of
yeah,
calling soft fouls, but as long as it's going both ways, I feel like most fans are okay with it. But when it's just like, yeah, it was frustrating for
yeah.
sure.
It was really frustrating, especially at the start of the game. Like we were losing by like 13. I I saw KJ Simpson get in the game in the first quarter, and I was mad.
KJ
But
Simpson, he was driving me crazy as well.
I was mad. And then Mark Williams, everything he touched became a bucket. I felt like he didn't miss the whole game. You know, so but at the end we made it, so I'm not gonna complain too much. I'm an optimistic guy. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
complain if we win too much. A little bit, but
no, I tell you what, you can complain. Like you started supporting this team when they, like I said, they won 14 games. You can complain a little bit, even if they win.
yeah.
Can I ask for you? Typically, do the games they must start around like 1 o'clock for you then in the morning?
Yeah, the 7 p.m. Detroit games start at 1 a.m. So,
Wow,
they're usually done by 3:30 or something. But I
man, that is
sometimes I
dedication.
watch them, but I have to get up at like 6:30 in the morning for school, so I
Yeah.
can't usually watch them.
So you'll normally just watch back like the highlights or maybe a full game if they win, something like that.
I I usually watch like the first half or something, and then maybe I watch like some highlights from the rest. I I watch this like basically every time. I love the fan react. I've
Oh,
watched it
really?
since the
That's
first one.
awesome.
I wanted to get on it since like months ago, basically
Yeah.
at the start of season, but never really had time. Now today I thought, let's get on it.
Love it. I love the dedication. Like a lot of people think in Australia, they're always like, oh, you must get up in the middle of the night. But in Australia, the time zone's so good for us. Like the 7 p.m. Detroit game starts at 11 a.m. for me.
Yeah, that
And
would be
so,
so
so
nice.
man, it's
That would be
like,
so nice.
it's so good. Like, I mean, obviously, like before I was doing this full time and I had a job, like I couldn't watch many of the games live, but
Yeah,
I would
yeah,
just watch them at night when I get home. But now that I'm doing this every day, it's like I just watch basketball in the middle of the day. It works really well. So I like
yeah,
shout out to you though, like and everyone in like Europe and that way, because I know the time zone for you guys is like not easy. It's kind of why I can't follow like the EPL or soccer or anything because the time
yeah,
zones just
yeah,
don't work for me. It's like the opposite.
yeah. But I already picked the Pistons. I already made it hard, so I can go. I can make it a little bit harder on myself. I can watch the games.
You are dedicated. I'll give you that. Um, can I just ask you your thoughts on Cade Cunningham and like his season so far and what you've seen from him? And if I'm guessing you think he should be an all-star, but
Yeah, yeah,
what's your
yeah, for
thoughts on
sure.
that?
You know, I love Cade. You know, I really like him as a player. He's so methodical. Like it seems every time he gets the ball, the game just feels like it slows down for him at least. I feel like everyone moves so fast and he moves so calm and calculated, and I just really like him as a basketball player. He seems really likable in the interviews, like in the little social media stuff the Pistons do. I feel like, you know, and I also feel like we're just seeing him take the star leap right in front of our eyes. Like it's last year he played well, but the team was um not very good to say the least.
Yeah.
You can only take Isaiah Livers so far. So I feel like now that we got
Lippers
some
stray. I love it.
I have I have Isaiah Livers trauma. It's worse than Killian Hayes. I have trauma from Isaiah Livers.
Oh my god, I was not expecting to hear Isaiah Livers' name.
Um, but now that we got some shooters, even though you know it's they're streaky shooters sometimes, but with Cade, I feel like they're a lot more consistent than they usually are, and he just shows you how much better he can make his teammates. I feel like we don't really appreciate the gravity Cade has sometimes because Cade is usually, if you're a really good guard, you're either a shooter. If you're a really good distributor as a guard, you're either a shooter or a slasher. And I feel like Halliburton is a good example. He was, at least, I don't know what's going on this season. He's a really good shooter. He's not much of a slasher, but I feel like Cade is an elite slasher. And also this year, especially, he's taken a shooting leap. He's a real threat from deep, so that enables like Ivy to also be a threat from deep, since they have to get guard Cade tighter now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like the 3-point shooting for Cade has been huge. Like the pull-up threes as well. Like he hit a pretty key one tonight. And it definitely has opened up things for Jaden Ivey. But yeah, he's like he's so methodical and calm and cool. And sometimes I know that annoys some fans when he has those little turnovers, but I think like that's why I really hope, I'm going to ask you this in a second. Like, I really hope the Pistons intend to keep staying in this play-in race. And I don't care if they don't make the playoffs, but I just really want to see K get another shot. Like, get a shot in like a play-in game with like that kind of intensity, because I think like that's where his demeanor and like methodical approach will really shine, is when the pressure's the highest. So your thoughts on like what direction do you think this Pistons season will go now, following the injury of Jaden Ivey, who I think, I don't want to make assumptions, but I think he's going to be out for the season.
Yeah, like he's going to be out at least till March, I think. But
Yeah.
you know, um, with the rest of the season, I mean, like I feel like the loss of Jane Ivy is really, really big, and seeing as how we played today, I'm not really sure we can keep the pace. I mean, we barely won against the Hornets, missing half their starters and playing people. I'm gonna be honest. I've heard of KJ Simpson maybe twice before today. I heard Nick Smith Jr.'s name a lot. I really like Nick Smith Jr., but you know, he's not a guy who should play 20 minutes a game. But I feel like it would be nice to stay on course for the play-in, but I just don't feel like we're gonna be able to do that now with Jaden Ivey missing. But if we do, at least some playing games, I feel like that will really show us, who can perform under pressure. Our biggest game was like the game against the Bucks, and I'm not gonna talk
Yeah.
about that. I don't want to talk about that. But I feel like just we're pretending that doesn't exist. It's NBA Cup. Who cares? It doesn't count.
It
So
doesn't.
playing, that's the real game. So I feel like it would be nice, but I'm not expecting it.
No.
Preseason, I would have been happy with 30 wins. You know,
Yeah.
I predicted like 30, 31, and we're way beyond pace for that. So I'm happy.
Yeah, someone, I think I had on Kyle yesterday or the last game, and I think they're on pace for like 37 wins right now. It'd probably be
So
38 now because they're nearly at 500. So I was
yeah,
like you. I
that's
was like,
insane.
yeah, it's crazy. Like I was thinking like 29 to 31 wins. Like I'd be really happy with that, because that's like a crazy leap, but it just shows how much of a disaster last year was, because the
Yeah,
talent's always been there. It just was the roster construction was really bad. But yeah, it's been
yeah,
crazy. It's been a fun season, that's for sure. And
yeah,
I
definitely.
really can I ask you this. I'm not sure if you need to go to bed or anything, but
No,
I
no,
just want
I
to
got
ask
time. I
you,
got time.
you got time. What would How would you feel if the Pistons made a trade for Zach LaVine or Brandon Ingram, or a player like that?
I don't think you know. I'm a stay-at-home GM. I don't know anything about being a GM, but in my opinion, you know, and that's because I'm new. So I don't really. I'm patient. I'm new. I've only experienced one season of losing. I don't mind being bad a little bit, like this season. Um, so I don't think we should trade for like a Zach Levine or whoever becomes available, or a Brandon Ingram, because I think like that's just a lot of money to give away for an extended period of time. And I also feel like we would give probably some assets away, which Trajan was talking about taking on assets, not giving assets away. I feel like he's not gonna do that. And I also feel like, you know, this is the first real serious basketball team for basically all our young players. So I feel like let them play ball a little bit. Let them see, what they're working with, what we are working with, like what they can be, what they can't be. So I'll let it play out at least this season.
Yeah, I think that's your standpoint. A lot of people are on that side with you. I'm like kind of in the middle, but there's
Yeah,
definitely.
I
But I
definitely
think
see
what
the
you're,
other the other
yeah, I
view.
think what you're saying though aligns with definitely what Trajan has said and what. If I had to put money on it, I would probably bet that they go along the lines of what you just said. I still feel
Yeah,
like because where I want to go to next is like this lack of ball handling in secondary, kind of
yeah,
playmaking and scoring that you brought up earlier. But like I definitely still think they need to make some sort of move to cover for JI because I mean Cade tonight, Red Baron Arcade says here, does anyone know why JB pulled Cade late in that game and never put him back in?
I thought it was
I
foul trouble, right?
but oh maybe it was. Maybe
Yeah,
he
he
had the
was on
five
five
fouls.
fouls. He was on
Oh, so
five
he's
fouls
gonna bring him
like
back in. Well,
8 minutes
okay,
into the fourth.
that makes sense. Well, you're paying more attention than me. I was gonna say also like I feel like maybe he's I don't know if it was a shin or a knee seems to be maybe bothering him because he's the past 3 games he's just looked like he hasn't been the same Cade
Yeah,
as he was
he's
prior.
been a little bit passive, I feel like.
Yeah, and I would guess that's from maybe this lingering injury. So
Yeah, that's possible.
my concern is kind of just with Ivy gone now, you're just putting way more usage
Yeah,
into
you put
Cade
a
to
lot
do
of
everything.
strain onto Kane. Okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I still think they need to make a move, even if it's not for Levine or Ingram. But what would you do at the starting lineup? Because JB tonight went with Wendell Moore, and I don't think that worked.
Yeah, I don't think anyone in the world expected Wendell Moore in the starting lineup.
No.
You could have given me 20 guesses. I wouldn't have guessed Wendell Moore.
No.
Um, but I, I'm not quite sure. I'll probably put SR in there and just move Tim Hardaway to the two like today. But I feel like we do have to make a move. Um, just for a secondary ball handler. I don't feel like it has to be someone big. I don't feel like it has to be a big trade at all. Just like a decent backup point guard that we can get for very cheap. Maybe in a free team deal we take on some bad salary and maybe a secondary ball handler. So I don't think we should go out there and trade it out for AJ and Ivy replacement since especially he's going to be back and hopefully back stronger since it's nothing like career ending or career deviating. So I don't think we should make a major move, but like a small little move to patch the hole until JI comes back.
Yeah, I think definitely. So you would go Asar and then Tim Hardaway Jr. at the two.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. No, I think a lot of fans like have suggested that one as well. Are you concerned? There was a comment in here asking about Asar. He seems to be struggling just a little bit on offense, but not just with shooting. It's more been like the
Yeah, with the
passing.
handling as well. Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
felt like he's been having a lot of turnovers, so I'm not really sure what's going on there. But I don't really see who else we could be starting. Maybe we start Marcus Sasser, but then we have to move K to the two. And, I don't think it makes that much of a difference when we're actually playing basketball. But, I feel like that's just with Cade as a big point guard, I feel like you have the advantage of a lot of size. And if you then move a smaller guard like Marcus Sasser, and I feel like you lose the advantage. So while I see like for the ball handling, since he's essentially our second best ball handler now, I feel like he could be all right, but I'm not quite sure that's the correct move since you are giving up a lot of size.
yeah. I think I'm actually with you on like, even though Asar's been struggling, like I would probably still start him just for the defensive stuff because yeah, Sasa, like you mentioned, the size is a bit of an issue. Although I thought he defended well tonight, but yeah, it does kind of negate, as you said, like the big advantage for having Cade at point guard. Even if I still think Cade at the two is like still very damaging. Um, yeah, it's going to be
Yeah, yeah,
interesting to see what JB does. I think next game he probably just puts Beasley in the starting lineup because that's typically what he'd done previously. I think when JI was out,
yeah. When he missed those few games, yeah, yeah. I think
yeah.
that's what he did.
So I feel like he'll probably just go to that. But Yeah,
Yeah,
it's interesting for sure.
I
Um, you go.
I just, you know, if Beasley, obviously he didn't have the best games now, last game and this game, but I feel like if you move Beasley off the bench into the starting lineup, I just feel like there's a lot of punch missing from the bench. So you're instantly losing like 15, 16 points from the bench. So I don't know if Fontecchio ever gets back to that late March form that he had, where he looked like the best role player in the NBA. But um, even if he just gets, I feel like he was playing better recently. So if he just keeps that up, and like maybe someone else from the bench takes a step, I feel like if you give Marcus Sasser more minutes, I feel like from the bench Marcus Sasser could be great. He's like very similar to Malik Beasley in that they both just can hit tough shots. They're both tough shot makers, so I feel like he could be a good replacement for as the spark plug off the bench.
Yeah, no, for sure. Sasa does have an ability to like just be. I could see him just being a microwave scorer, like,
Yeah, yeah,
um, and like
absolutely.
whenever he's like has a chance to shoot it, like I'm checking what he shot tonight. Marcus Sasa, where is
I
he?
didn't feel like he shot that
Yeah,
well. I felt like
yeah,
he
no,
missed.
he struggled. He was 1 of 4 from three, only 3 points on the night. So not the best game from him, but I still really I just prefer him coming off the bench, I think.
Yeah,
Just because of the size, but he definitely, because he's a lot older than I think some fans think. Like
yeah,
he was
he's like
drafted
24, 25.
24, maybe turning even 25.
He's
So
yeah, he was like he played a lot in college, you
yeah.
know.
Yeah, he played the full 4 years, so he's like a lot older. So I think he's just like kind of primed to be in that like scoring
Yeah,
role off the bench.
I'm
Um,
just checking
but
Marcus Sasser.
no,
Yeah, he's 24.
he's 24. There you go. So
He
he's
just turned 24 though in September. So
okay. So he'll be 25 next season.
yeah,
So, but he's like basically you can't really call him an NBA vet because he's only his second year. But I feel
yeah,
like he's like you kind of know what you're getting from him. He's shooting over 40% from three this year. Like
yeah.
leave
I
him
feel
on the
like
bench, let him cook against second
yeah,
unit.
he knows what he can do. He knows what he has to do. I feel like you're 25. You're a mature guy on the team. I mean, he's older than Cade.
Yeah, that's
He's
crazy. It's crazy. Um, and I think another weird one like that is I think Asar's older than Jaden Ivey.
yeah. That also feels weird.
So there's some weird things like that. They're all still
I
young, but
also I always forget how young Ron Holland is. Like, I'm
yeah,
younger than Ron. I'm like a year younger, but you know, Ron just plays like he's older.
yeah.
Sometimes you still see like he's pretty new to this, but sometimes he also just he has the confidence of someone who's played in the NBA for longer. So I just sometimes see that he's 19 and I'm like, are you sure?
No, Ron is not short of confidence. That is for sure. We got a trade offer here from YouTube user Jack. If the Pelicans would trade CJ for THJ without assets to get off his contract next year, would you? I'm so bad with trades. What are your thoughts? Straight up, CJ McCollum for Tim Hardaway Jr.
I mean, you're obviously getting the better player, but I'm not sure about CJ's contract. What's
I
CJ's contract?
I think my guess would be it's around 35 million, but it obviously has a season next year.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
checking.
I'm pretty sure I would do this. Yeah.
Yeah,
See, like,
he's 64 million 2 years.
yeah. Okay. So you have 32 million next season.
32
I think I
next season.
would do it. Like, I
Yeah,
know we love our cap space, but
no,
like,
like we have we're paying the lowest in the league. Like we can take on a
CJ,
little bit of salary.
yeah. And I feel like I know my whole thing with bringing in a player is I don't really want to bring in a player that takes away from Jaden Ivey, but
Yeah,
maybe you could bring CJ off the bench
yeah.
next
I feel
season.
like CJ off the bench would be
He's at
really, really good.
I feel like
I
he's
feel like
at that stage of his career potentially. Like he's older
yeah,
as well than I think people
yeah.
realize.
CJ is
I
like I'm not sure how old
feel
CJ is.
like he's
I would
mid
guess
30s.
34.
Yeah, I think something like that because he also came into the league after like playing 4 years of college, and
Yeah,
he's been around
CJ's
for ages.
33.
Okay,
So like
so
he's mid 30s. So this is his last big contract. But
yeah,
I feel like, I wouldn't mind CJ off the bench. Like I feel
yeah,
like he could also teach a lot of to the young players. Like he's been to a conference finals. He started in the team that went to the conference finals, so he has the experience.
yeah. No, I think you could. Yeah, I would do it. For sure. Like YouTube user says here, you can play all three together, like they are right now with Tim Hardaway Jr. I guess that would mean Cade's at the three. It might be a
No, I guess
little
that
bit
would
too
he
much
would
ball
just
handling.
replace Tim, no, Kate at the one, Ivy at the two, Tim at the three. I think he met with Ivy.
Okay. Well, um, I thought you were saying you could play Cade, replace Cade at the three for THJ, and then you have Ivy, CJ at the one and two. But
I thought CJ at the three, but I guess you could play Kate at the three, but I feel like you would just lose. What makes
yeah,
him that great a point guard?
yeah. But I still think either
He
way,
gets
like I
those
was saying,
mismatches.
CJ, you could probably bring off the bench next season.
Yeah,
And you've just got, imagine your three guards all capable of going for 20 easily any night. Like, all
it's
can
great.
handle the ball. It'd be perfect, like, for that season. I would do that for Tim Hardaway Jr. if
Yeah,
that's, if that's all it was
you're not
for.
giving up a lot.
No. YouTube user asked, do you hoop?
I am unable to play the game of basketball. I
Oh,
don't
okay.
even I don't even really like playing basketball. Like,
Really?
I play soccer or football, you know.
Yeah.
I play that a lot since I was small, but I don't really hoop. You know, I didn't really get in contact with basketball until like 2 years ago, since, I feel like suddenly everyone around where I live started playing basketball or got into basketball. So I did too.
So yeah, that's crazy. So you none of your friends and you just don't play at all. It doesn't surprise me you play football in Europe.
No,
But
like basically, I have some friends that play basketball, but
yeah, it's
no one
definitely
really.
become
Yeah, it's
like
getting bigger.
yeah, like in Australia. I remember when I was like in high school, yeah, it wasn't that big of a thing like the NBA, and now it's like I mean, it's been big here now for like probably like 5 to 10 years, but yeah, it's
Yeah, it's still not that big here. Like everyone still cares infinitely more about soccer or football, but I say it's basically, especially around with guys my age, I feel like it's getting a lot cooler
yeah,
to like basketball. So I feel like it's a sport that's cool to like and to play.
for sure. No, it's fun. I'm gonna give you one more chance here because I got to wrap this show up early today,
Yeah, yeah.
unfortunately. But
Don't want to take up too much of
any
your time.
final thoughts on the team? Any takes you want to get off? Any predictions? Go
I
for it.
want to give some shout outs to the guy who shouted me out in the chat at the start when I came on, who said I was
Yeah,
his favorite guest. I want to give some shout outs to that guy.
that was
And
YouTube user. Yeah,
shout outs to you. Um, I also just, you know, I want to say Jaden Ivey will be an All Star one day. I don't care. Jaden Ivey will be an All Star. That's my take. I don't really have anything else to say.
I love
Thank you
it.
for having me on.
I love it, brother. Well, thank you so much for joining. You're welcome anytime. If you're staying up late to watch any games, I'll be
Yeah,
here. After every game, you just know to DM me on Instagram and we'll get you up here. It's been awesome. I've never had someone I don't think we've had anyone from Europe join us.
yeah. I don't think so. I don't think so.
No. So this has been awesome. Welcome surprise. And please, if you have the time, please hit me
Yeah,
up
yeah.
in DMs and we'll get you up anytime you want to come up here.
If I get the
But
time, I'll come up. I'll come up.
you go get some sleep though. What's the time? 4:30?
4:30.
So go get some sleep. Enjoy the win and we'll talk very soon.
Yeah.
All
All
right,
right.
brother. See
Let's
ya.
go Pistons.
Let's go. Wow. How good is that, guys? That's dedication. I'm gonna have to tweet out a video of this because I can't believe we've come across a fan that started following the team just before the 14 win season. and they have to watch the games that starts at 1 or 2 a.m. on the East Coast. West Coast games must start at like 4 in the morning. So that's crazy. That's why we do. That's why this channel's kind of started, and definitely the Fan Reacts is to get people from all over the world, because there's literally Pistons fans everywhere. It's crazy. I'm just going to go through some comments here as well. Jack, do you watch cricket? I used to when I was like little, not now. I don't find it very interesting. I loved it when I was like very, very young, but not anymore. I couldn't tell you the last time I watched cricket. What else do we have in here? Shout out to Sean. What has Sean got to say? A quarter of the league is letting us believe that we are a good team, and we are falling for it. We are being played and probably out of our pick this year. It's going to be very interesting to see what Trajan does to see how much he wants to keep that pick, because the Pistons, the basic equation, this is not 100% foolproof, but the basic equation is if the Pistons make the playoffs, they lose their pick. If they don't, but they can still make the play-in, lose in the playing games, and retain their pick. So I don't know. I feel like it's pretty much a win-win. Maybe it's wrong, but I would love to see playoff basketball. I get the logic behind keeping the pick in what is meant to be a stacked draft, or a really good draft, especially at the top. But I don't know. I used to be very much in that mindset, but I'm just at the point where it's like, I think postseason playoff experience is more valuable than potentially getting another 18, 19-year-old. I know we could get Cooper Flagg or Ace Bailey, but of all teams, do we really think the Pistons are going to jump from like the 10th best odds all the way into the top 3? Like, it's not happening. Let's be real. It's not. So I know there's some history in recent years that would suggest it's a chance, but I'll put it like this. I wouldn't be purposely like losing games or, dismantling the roster around the trade deadline to ensure we keep that pick, because I think we've seen enough this season that you have enough guys. And the best thing is, if you lose the pick, obviously it sucks, but you've got all your picks back for the future. You can trade them. There's no restrictions. You can go and get that star player whenever they become available. And as well, not only do you have the assets to trade for that star player, but you have a bit of a track record that your franchise isn't a disaster and just constantly losing games and constantly like vying for the top picks. So I get what you're saying here, Sean. A lot of people will agree with you in terms of wanting to keep the pick, if that's kind of what you're saying here, I believe. But yeah, that's my thoughts. What else? Spider Tunes. What up, Jack, my dog? How are you, bro? I'm good, man. I'm good. It's a fresh new year, 2025. Can't complain. The Pistons have won 6 out of 8 games, or 7 out of 9, 5 out of 6. It's summertime here. It's about 35 degrees Celsius outside at the moment. So no complaints from me, brother, but thanks for asking and thanks for tuning in. I agree, Nuggies. It's going to be rough without JI. Like, I hope Cade can get more healthy or get back to that all-star play, because the Pistons are going to need every bit of it. Because I'm happy they got the win tonight, and it's not doom and gloom, but they're not going to win many games playing how they did tonight. So shout out to Tobias Harris, who was great as well, who's really stepped up. But it's going to be tough without JI until they find something to at least plug that gap at the starting 2 position. Red Baron Arcade, what up, Jack? A win is a win. Couldn't agree more. A win is a win. Especially because, as Alan W says here, we play the Timberwolves next, but other than that, we have a stretch of very winnable games. So I kind of predicted they'll probably lose to the Timberwolves. I hope I'm wrong. I hope they shock us and win tomorrow. But I think just based on talent and maybe the team being on a back-to-back, it might be a struggle to win. So that's why it's important. You get the win over the Magic, you get the win over the Hornets, bank those wins. Doesn't matter how you get them. They're all valuable at the end of the day. Nuggies, Okay, he was just replying to someone. My bad. Just quickly scanning for any more questions before I have to get out of here. Derek Brown, anybody concerned about Asar just a little bit? I'm not really concerned. Like, it's frustrating watching him turn the ball over and having these issues with his handle, but I think that's kind of the way to growth for him. But I can see why you'd be concerned for sure, because some of them are being a bit careless, which is frustrating. But he normally has made up for it on the defensive end. The missed free throws is probably something I'm more concerned with. I mean, 0 of 2 tonight. You could see JB trying to get that timeout as the Hornets were trying to foul Asar, and he couldn't get timeout. Asar missed both free throws and still gives the Hornets another chance to win. I'm concerned with those free throws. He was at 45% before those two. I'm guessing it's closer to 40% now. So really has to sort that out, because that is something that can keep you off the floor in close games. And with the talent Asar has on the defensive end and the athleticism he brings, you can't have that lack of free throw shooting. It's tough to overcome. So Sean, I don't care much about the pick. I just don't want to make the playoffs because the rest of the league allowed us to. I mean, I get what you're saying here. You don't want the Pistons to be gifted a playoff berth, but I don't know. I think it's all earned. They've beaten a lot of good teams. That's what I'll say. But like winning those West Coast trips, West Coast games, like they've beaten the Lakers twice. I think no matter what, I think where the Pistons are right now is exactly where they should be. They've dropped some good games against bad teams like the Jazz and the Hornets, and they've also beaten some solid to good playoff teams. So I think they're right where they're meant to be. 16 and 18. I'm just going to refresh the standings here to make sure I'm right. But they currently sit ninth, half a game back of eighth of the Pacers. So I think they're right where they're meant to be. And I think whatever they get, they earn it. So, yeah, I think I get where you're coming from there, Sean. Yeah, I can see. I just think with the Pistons playoffs, lack of playoff basketball we've witnessed, I think anything they get is kind of earned, and I'll take it. That's going to do it, guys, I think. Thank you for tuning in. Awesome to have a new guest tonight. Cody was meant to join me, but he is a big Michigan State fan, and I think they're playing basketball tonight, so he couldn't join. But for future, if you want to come and join, please DM me before the show starts, or you can DM me during it. I'm sometimes just miss those ones. So best to get it in early before the game or just before the stream, and we'll get you up here. But thanks to everyone in the comments tuning in. Bit of a frustrating game tonight, but as a lot of you have said, a win is a win. We'll take anything. 16 and 18, 9th in the East. It's good times right now, even with a bit of a Jaden Ivey injury. But as always, we'll be back tomorrow after Timberwolves game. So until then, go Pistons.